body at ease, breathing quiet, sentiment benevolent. Dharma friend, sitting still in vital silence, wanting nothing, we practice eco-Buddhism together. The sound of the temple bell booms for all to cease from conflict. May the way of Buddha usher in the dawn of non-violent global village forever. Here is the after sound of the bell. Thunder of silence, light after Dharma rain. Mani Padme Jvala Pravartaya.
Please stand or remain sitting or kneeling for the chanting of the 3 refuges. Yeah, that's good. We're experimenting with some different ways than in the past so that we can bring more life to the service. So hopefully that will be the case. Chi sim quimnyane si bang san se Shemang Chole Songju Ilche Chi sim quim ne si bong son se che mong chole song ju il che Chi sim quim ne si bong son se che mong chole song ju il che song And the English translation, please repeat after me. I go for refuge to the Buddha.
I go for refuge to the Buddha
And resolve with all beings.
and resolve with all beings.
I will cultivate a heart of enlightenment.
I will cultivate a heart of enlightenment
And realize the great way.
and realize the great way.
I go for refuge to the Dharma.
I go for refuge to the Dharma
And resolve with all beings.
and resolve with all beings.
I will penetrate the teachings.
I will penetrate the teachings
And uncover oceans of wisdom.
and uncover oceans of wisdom.
I go for refuge to the Sangha.
I go for refuge to the Sangha
And resolve with all beings.
and resolve with all beings.
I will seek peace and happiness for the many.
I will seek peace and happiness for the many.
And transform this world into Buddha lands unimpeded.
And transform this world into Buddha lands unimpeded.
Please return for another period of meditation, about 5 minutes. Please join in these simple mindfulness exercises. Being present with our body, and also while being present, also with our breathing. See how we harmonize it. As the body opens, we inhale, and as it closes, we exhale. And in that opening and closing, we practice full presence. And because we do this, at least we do, over and over again, it's so easy to be mechanical rather than excruciatingly present. Inhaling as we come up and exhaling. And besides our muscles and tissues, the spine, it gets turned, twisted, sideways, forwards, backwards. Keep it as straight as you can as you turn, taking your eyes deeply to the back, inhaling forward, and keeping the spine straight, twist again to the other side, eyes deeply to the back. Inhaling back. Circling, inhaling to start. And then bringing one hand across and under the other arm. And this time we inhale and we allow the spine to come sideways and open up the vertebrae on that outer side, leaning into it. And inhale back and exhale, switching sides. And the same, inhaling and exhaling. Opening the vertebrae on the outer side. Inhale. And wide with the elbows. And again, twisting the spine. First one way, gently rocking toward the back. And then turning the other way, rocking toward the back. Aware of the spine. It's being exercised. Reach high, stretching the spine. Breathe. and release. Lifting the shoulders very high and releasing deep. And finally, fully raised and fully released. Bringing the hands palm to palm and making a simple bow. And for a few moments, let's stretch the legs because we're going to go back to starting our meditation again with a little fine-tuning. Okay, so whether you're standing, sitting, lying down, let's compose yourself for meditation. This is a part of our service today where we practice with embodiment. The Buddha said, and I repeat often, this length body has all the teachings, all the wisdom. So first, bringing the arms up, palms in, and then turning them out, the palms, and slowly bringing them down by the sides. Bringing the left fingers on top of the right and touching the thumbs for your hand mudra. Hold it lightly. And sometimes, and if you just look up, you can bring your first finger and thumb together very lightly and place your hands down just inside the crease between your legs and your trunk. Whatever your hand position, hold it very lightly, intimately. Tip your hip bones now a little forward. So there's a slight arch in your back. Go with your visual awareness to your breastbone and very imperceptibly at an energetic level lift. And notice how that affects your spine. Please practice that again, very subtly, lifting the breastbone. Aware of breathing. Now bring your visual awareness from the breathing at this moment to the shoulders. And in the same subtle way, release them toward gravity. Very, very imperceptibly seen, but felt energetically. And then your shoulder blades, move them imperceptibly together. Bring your eyes now, your outer eyes, to the tip of your nose and down to the floor. And feel the breathing. Tip of the tongue lightly touching the back of the top teeth. So for some moments, maybe even some minutes, you can remain aligned like this. But your habitual pattern will sneak back in. Certainly does for me. And so once again, we tip our hips energetically forward. We raise our breastbone imperceptibly. Shoulders released. And shoulder blades together imperceptibly. Eyes to the tip of the nose and to the floor, about 3 or 4 feet in front. Tip of the tongue on the back teeth, the back of the front teeth. So this is the practice of compose yourself. You are a seeker. Let's take it a little further. Bring your awareness just outside your nostrils, just up from your lips, and be aware of the breath's effect right there at your nostrils' entry. Just let it be organic, natural flow. Aware of the whole energy there of in-breath and out-breath. Take your inner eye to the back of your nostrils. It's a place that feels a little cool as the chi, the vital energy, comes in and enters your whole pranic system. And then bring your visual awareness to the breath's effect in your chest. And then to your Tanshan area, that place 2 fingers below your navel. Feeling the Tanshan expand with the in-breath and contract with the out breath. Now, dear friends, teachers, students, allow yourself to be present with your whole body, breathing in and breathing out. Being very watchful as your body responds to in-breath and as it responds to out-breath. And notice at the end of out-breath, there's a little spaciousness. Allow yourself to hang out there, just to be there. Until your body breathes in again. And on the next out-breath, be with it all the way. And again, notice that place of spaciousness. And then, of course, you're breathing in, but you're noticing that you're breathing a little more slowly. And for a minute or two, please allow yourself to be present in that spaciousness at the end of the out-breath as you breathe. Please go ahead. It is a practice to find that spaciousness. It's actually almost everywhere. But at first we explore it, experience it at the end of the out breath. I've come to call it the entranceway to ultimate reality. Where there's great unknowing. Before good and bad, before differentiation. It's like this space allows for constant coming and going. And as we experience this spaciousness, we come by our first-hand experience to know emptiness or sunyata. That everything is empty, does not have a separate self. But is part of great interrelationship. Interbeing. Coming to truly experience interrelationship and interbeing is awakening. All right, please stretch your legs if you need to. Do a little hokey pokey if you need to. I see, as I look at the clock, that almost all of our time is taken up by this practice. I do not have very much time these days to work with you with your meditation practice, with embodiment practice. So I felt it was important. It's so important for me. I'm just like something blown in the wind unless I really have a sense of my embodiment. Yeah. So let's see in the next few minutes if I can share a little more with you. This is a month of Earth Day, and I've wanted to talk about that. Plus a lot of other things have come to my mind to talk with you about. When I think of Earth Day, I think of a wonderful woman by the name of Joanna Macy and the books she has written on basically what we call eco-Buddhism. So one of the things I did was get Joanna's book. Joanna and I met just once and many times through her books. So I found a story in this book which is called Coming Back to Life, the updated guide to the work that reconnects. And really that's what the meditation that we just did together, it was a guided meditation. When you next do it, you have to guide yourself in a certain sense. But all through this book, Coming Back to Life, there are many ways that we learn how to reconnect. And what I just chose for this morning is a story called the Shambhala prophecy. And she learned it when she was in Asia with some Tibetan teachers in, I think, something like 1980. So the Shambhala prophecy, and this is how Joanna has passed on the prophecy. Can you please bring the camera a little closer? I wish I could see you. Sometimes I think we should do this on Zoom so that I can see every person, because it really makes a difference to me. Okay, so here I am a little closer with all my whiskers and warts. Here's how Joanna has passed on this Shambhala prophecy. Thank you, Hayun. Yeah. Hayun is here beside me, and Maum is at the farm. She'll be back next weekend. There comes a time when all life on earth is in danger. Great barbarian powers have arisen. Although these powers spend their wealth in preparation to annihilate each other, they have much in common. Weapons of unfathomable devastation and technologies that lay waste our world. It is in this moment when the future of all beings hangs by the frailest of threads that the kingdom of Shambhala emerges. You cannot go there, for it is not a place. It exists in the hearts and minds of the Shambhala warriors. And you can't recognize a Shambhala warrior by looking at her or him, for they wear no uniforms or insignia, and they carry no banners to show which side they are on. They have no barricades on which to climb to threaten the enemy, or behind which they can rest or regroup. They don't even have a home turf. Always they must move across the terrain of the barbarians themselves. Now the time has come when great courage, moral and physical courage, is required of the Shambhala warriors, for they must go into the heart of the barbarian powers to dismantle the weapons in every sense of the word. They must go where the armaments are made and deployed, and also into the corridors of power where decisions are made. Wow. Now the Shambhala warriors know that these weapons can be dismantled. This is because they are manomaya, which means mind-made. Made by the human mind, they can be unmade by the human mind. The dangers threatening life on earth are not visited upon us by an extraterrestrial power or satanic deities or preordained fate. They arise from our own choices, our relationships, our habits of thought and behavior. So this is the time when the Shambhala warriors go into training. How do they train? One weapon is compassion. The other weapon is wisdom. And Buddhism is always called like a bird, 2 wings, 1 wisdom and 1 compassion. Compassion, okay, go back. Go back, Haju. One weapon is compassion, the other weapon is wisdom, or insight into the radical interdependence of all phenomena. Both are necessary. Compassion gives you the fuel, the motive force to go where you need to go, to do what you need to do. It means essentially to not be afraid of the pain of the world. When you are not afraid of the pain of the world, nothing can stop you. But by itself, that weapon is not enough. It can burn you out. So you need the other, the knowledge of our interbeing. With that wisdom, you know that this is not a battle between good guys and bad guys. You know that the line between good and evil runs through the landscape of every human heart. You know that we are so interwoven in the fabric of life that even the smallest act with clear intention has repercussions beyond our capacity to measure or even see. By itself, that insight seems abstract and cool. So to keep moving, we need the heat of compassion as well. And then there's a little commentary. These 2 weapons of the Shambhala warrior, and I like to think of us as dragons over and over again, represent 2 essentials of what Joanna calls the work that reconnects. It's really our work. One is fearless experience of the pain for the world. The other is insight into the radical connectivity of all life. Yeah, and our practices, our formal practices, are about these 2 things. But as I come to the second part now, so is everything that we do. You know, we practice to gain kind of this compassion and wisdom, and we think it's a formal thing by sitting and chanting and prostrating and studying, and it is, but it also is how in each moment of our life we begin to experience compassion and this interconnective wisdom, sunyata. So the expression now, which I shared with our training students this weekend, is your everyday ordinary life is the way of Buddha. The practice of waking up is constantly present in whatever you are doing. That is so awesome. We don't have to go anywhere. We mostly think we do. But the great untangling of this great tangle we're in is about just starting. Have you ever? My kids, my grandkids, went in our conference room with a ball of wool, and they just went all over, under every chair and up every wall and onto doorknobs. And they had such a time. And then when it was time for them to go, we had to untangle, and it took a bunch of us getting the end, going here and back and forth. So our practice, formal and informal, is about this great untangling that we have to do together. And I was really fortunate to be at our spring wind farm this past week. Been back here home a few days. And I'd like to share a couple of stories from there. And yeah, there's a lot more, but okay, let me sort of get it in a nutshell. When I first arrived, it was told me that the county where the farm is has the most ticks of any county in the country. So that scared me because I know a couple of people who've got Lyme's disease from ticks. And I thought, oh my gosh. And so when I was invited to go with the father and his two girls, one is about 7 and one is about 8, lovely young girls, and Joy Young, one of the residents of the farm, out into the fields and forests for exploring, I first said no because I thought I should just stay on the asphalt road that comes in and out of the farm because I would be safe from ticks there. But that's a bunch of balderdash, We just can't always stay on the asphalt road, Gary Snyder said, you have to go off the trail if you want to find the nest of the woolly wombat. And I don't know what this woolly wombat is actually, but I would love to find its nest. It just sounds so fascinating. And I think in our lives, if we're to crack open our hearts and our minds, we have to go off of our habitual patterns. So what did I do? I first said no, and I'm protecting myself. And then I went and got some long boots on, borrowed Maum's boots that she brought. And I got a hat over and I covered myself and I said, okay. And the father said, every night I want my kids to run wild in nature. And so they lay down after they've had their bath and I go over them from head to toe, in between their toes, underneath their arms, and in my case, underneath my breasts and my butt crack, because that's where the ticks like it the best. And so off I went, deciding that I would just do my version of laying down and getting checked for ticks. And we went out and we found a lot of edible plants called ramps. And ramps are really something. My son-in-law loves ramps, and I've kind of thought, he's crazy. He's always going out so excited about ramps. What's there to be so excited about? But they were excited, so I got excited. And we picked a lot, and later I was happy to cook some of them for meals. And also we ran into this little pine forest which had an eagle's nest in the top of it. We could see the eagle, and we also saw the other, the father or the mother, come and change watches. It was so beautiful to see that. We went to a river which goes through the property that's really down. You practically have to fall down the sides to get to the river. So I was happy to have Chris, the father, help me get down there. Beavers were in the river, and trees that had been hauled by rivers and gnawed by rivers. I was really glad that I went back and decided not to stay on the asphalt road, but to just go out. And that happened a lot of times. Final story, because time is short, is that we got some baby chicks by mail. They were just 2 days old or something. Who's ever get baby chicks by mail?
Me.
Oh, Haju has. I mean, Hayun has. Yeah. And we didn't know how to take care of them, and Joy Young was kind of given that responsibility. And eventually they came from the barn right into our common room in these 2 long boxes, and with sawdust and water and food and light to keep them warm. And we could hear them peeping and sort of squawking all the time. And Joy Young had to cut all the poop out of the chicken's anus when it was all dried up, it was really hard to do. She had to take every one. So we became quite enamored with all the aspects of baby chick care. And one night, as I usually do, I told Marina and Pashu about it. I had to go pee and get some water. And on the way back to the room I was staying in, I thought, I just gotta go look at the chicks and the ducks. So I went over there very, very quietly. And I looked in and I was kind of alarmed because they all looked dead. They seemed to be just lying down, sort of like they'd flopped over dead. And so I decided that I should check. And so what I did was I took my finger and I just bumped it ever so carefully on the side of their big metal box. And I couldn't hear it at all, but they just sprung right up. It's kind of like they really felt the slightest vibration. And the ducks did too. And they just scurried around. And I thought, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how powerful one little, very light tap on a piece of box can have such an effect. It's about everything counts. We can affect each other so much. It made me want to be a more sensitive, careful, crazy dragon person. Yeah. So as we practice and live our everyday lives in the best way we can, moment by moment, wisdom is arising, and of course compassion too. You can see the compassion that arose for me. What am I going around if scaring baby chicks? I have to be careful. Yeah. So we, through our practices and through our everyday life, develop a kind of wisdom and a compassion which comes forward. And I was listening to our dear Pema Chodron yesterday, and she was talking about sharing our wealth practice, which I thought was a particularly kind of wonderful, compassionate practice. For instance, she said, when we feel happy, why not share that happiness with others who may not feel so happy? If things at a very, very molecular level, atomic level, have an effect, like tapping a chicken, surely what our minds put out and our words put out can also have an effect. So Pema suggested when we're happy, sharing that happiness outwardly. When we have pain, commiserate with people who also have pain, connecting. Everyone has pain. When we have delight, may others delight. When there's insight, may others also have insight. Hayun and I were talking last night. I was mentioning to her about the really dire situation in India right now with so much COVID and so few resources. Just really, really alarming, like a hot spot. And then Hayun, you told me about a situation in Central America. Can you just say about that?
Yeah, I know many people have heard about it, but it's such a dire situation in Honduras now. People who have no homes because of the hurricanes, people who are struggling because of corrupt government and gangs and drugs, and so they flee to America because they have nothing, not because they want to leave their homes, but because they're afraid to be there. And so there are people putting together initiatives, I think, on both of these, which are really lovely, and so we'll have more information about it.
Yeah. So remember, we are Shambhala warriors, and it really is what we do moment by moment in terms of generating our original compassion and wisdom for the benefit of all beings. We've got a big job, but together we can do it. And may Indra's Met bring peace, happiness, and freedom from suffering for all beings. So let's end with the transference of merit. So please repeat after me. Whatever merit I may have earned,
whatever merit I may have earned,
through my participation in this service today,
through my participation in this service today,
and whatever else I've done in my day so far,
and whatever I've done in my day so far,
I offer for the relief of suffering,
I offer for the relief of suffering,
the relief of suffering and peace and happiness
and peace and happiness
of all beings.
of all beings.
Maha Prajna Paramita.
Maha Prajna Paramita.
Maha Prajna Paramita.
Maha Prajna Paramita.
Namo Maha Prajna Paramita.
Namo Maha Prajna Paramita.
All, I want you to prepare for May 16th. That is Buddha's birthday, coming up in just a few weeks. We are looking at the indicators and statistics for Washtenaw County, which at this point don't look great, but we're all hopeful and we so want to be together. And so we're going to have more information in the weeks that come up. I know that we're going to be putting up a huge tent out here in our back parking lot and yard so that we can accommodate groups as soon as possible, because we hear from people and we know you want to come back. We want you to come back. We want to be together. And so we need to do it in the safest way possible, though. So we're hopeful that this spring and summer will bring us a respite so that we can begin having some services and programs together.
I'm going to interrupt you and say, I'm going to ask that you repeat the first announcement again. Apparently there's a sound blip.
Does it only happen when I'm speaking?
It's just
okay.
you.
Okay.
You're so magnetic.
I'm
Interfering
so
with the electromagnetic fields.
Okay, the first announcement is please prepare, set your calendars for May 16th, which is Sunday. May 16th, which is Buddha's birthday. And so we're going to have more information in coming weeks about what is going to be happening here at the temple. But we guarantee you we will have activities, and some of them will probably be that you will do at home. And hopefully, depending on the numbers of COVID, we might be able to do some things here at the temple, yet to be determined. Secondly, on Wednesday evenings, we have a group that meets regularly on Zoom. So it's at 6:30 every Wednesday evening. There's some practice, some chanting, some Dharma discussion that's very rich. Please join us for that. And finally, I just want to say thank you for your kind and generous donations. It keeps our temple alive in these times that are challenging for everyone, and we all, from the bottom of our heart, thank you.
Yeah. And if I may also say, thank you as well. And in terms of Buddha's birthday, it might be that you'd like to begin making a lantern. It's something that we did last year, and it was beautiful to see the lanterns that people made in the spirit of what the Buddha said, be ye a lamp unto yourself. Yeah. And I know we had a lot, the second thing is we had a lot of trouble with our broadcasting last week, so thank you for your patience. And I'm wondering if you can please let us know how it was today for you. First, from a technical point, could you hear, could you see? And then if there was something about the Dharma that was offered that touched you in any way, it's always helpful for us to know that. Okay, so I think that's it. Oh, I know, also we did some work in the garden yesterday. We had 5 people, and we worked from 3 till about 10 to 5, and I encourage you to join again next Saturday, if you can. The work out there is really going in to see the nest of the woolly wombat, and it's just good getting your hands in the earth and working together with other Sangha members safely. So you're all invited. Yeah. Okay. All beings, one body,
I vow to liberate. Blind passions, one root, I vow to terminate. Dharma gates, one mind, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to realize.